Finally, the Denver Broncos get their first commanding win in the 2025 season as they blow the doors off the Cincinnati Bengals 28-3. Sorry, Atlanta Falcons. But they could have put up even more points. This could have been a wider margin of victory, and that's a good thing. That means that this team still has room to improve. They still have room to get better. And I think Broncos country can collectively agree that there were some areas tonight where the team wasn't perfect. I'm somebody who believes that you can always find ways to improve, even off a dominating victory. In fact, I think it's easier to find ways to improve in a game like this as opposed to a game where you don't have things go the way you want it to go because you're just mad after that game and it's really hard to evaluate things. In a game like this, you're coming off of a really solid victory, or a really excellent victory, actually, and you can be happy, but you can still recognize the areas where, okay, this isn't quite up to our standard, and if this Broncos team wants to compete for a Super Bowl, that's the mindset they need to have. So, I believe that the Denver Broncos need to think about making a change at one position. We all saw one position in particular get exposed tonight for the Denver Broncos. The center position, Luke Wattenberg. This is the second time I've made a bench Luke Wattenberg video. It's time, man. You've got to give Alex Forsyth a try at center. I understand that it might be difficult to bench a player coming off of a win like this, and I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly here. I'm really not, but I just think you can always find a way to improve, and if this offense is going to reach its potential, especially in the run game, which is seeming to become the identity of this football team, this is a good rushing football team, but it could be even better if you've got a dominating, mauling center up front, and I think Alex Forsyth could be that kind of player. We've talked about how I think that he will give you a little bit less in pass protection than Luke Wattenberg, and I do wonder about the mental side of the center because that is a position you've got to be very cerebral. Not saying that Alex Forsyth isn't a smart player, but you've got to be super cerebral, especially when you've got a young quarterback in there still in Bo Nix. So I can understand why they maybe want to be a little bit more conservative with that position. But if you want to run the ball in a dominating fashion every single week like we saw today, then you should really consider it. Bo Nix and Alex Forsyth, they have that chemistry from Oregon, so that will help the transition. But the Broncos aren't going to be facing soft fronts every single night like the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, outside of Trey Hendrickson, their front seven is not great, Bob. Next week, they're going to be facing off against one of the best front sevens in all of football in the Philadelphia Eagles. That front seven won them a Super Bowl. So the Broncos are going to have to put their big boy pants on for this game, and they're going to have to be ready to maul some cats up front, especially in the run game. You're going to be going toe-to-toe with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and in order to defend those guys, the best way to do it is keep them on the sideline. Have another dominating rushing performance. I called it. I said that the Broncos were finally going to break their curse in this game, and they were going to have their first 100-yard rusher of the Sean Payton era. That did indeed happen, but we're going to have to keep that up heading into next week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and even against, even against the New York Jets and against the Giants as we go further and further into the season. When we get to December, when we get to January, the weather's going to start getting colder, the wind's going to start blowing. It's going to be harder and harder to throw the football. So the rushing attack is going to be very, very much the key here in order for the Denver Broncos to get to the playoffs and in order for them to win playoff games. The fact that the Denver Broncos were able to get into the playoffs with their rushing game being kind of subpar, that was kind of a miracle last year. And I think it's a twofold thing. The running back personnel, we talked about that in a previous video, but the offensive line plays arguably an even bigger role here. And with Luke Wattenberg, he's just too inconsistent up front. The penalties tonight, he had a holding penalty that wiped out a 17-yard run by J.K. Dobbins. He had two ineligible man-down field penalties. those aren't really his fault. Those are more of a product of the quarterback extending a play on RPOs and stuff like that. If the quarterback holds on to the ball for just a tick too long, the offensive line, they're run blocking on that play. They don't know if it's going to be a running play or a passing play. They're doing their job. So whenever you hear an offensive lineman downfield, that's not really the offensive lineman's fault at all. That's just kind of a product of the play not going how you wanted it to go. But he had another holding penalty, wiping out a 9-yard R.J. Harvey run. And then he had a false start where I haven't gone back and watched the TV copy yet. I'm going to do that right after this video. But in the stadium, it looked like he moved the ball prematurely and kind of fake snapped it. So Luke Wattenberg, that's just kind of a brain fart moment right there that you just can't have. Wattenberg's been a professional. He's gotten a lot better over the course of his career in Denver. I remember his first season here, 2022. He got into games in relief of Dalton Reisner a couple of times, and oh God, he did not look good at guard. Even at center, a couple of reps he got there in training camp in the preseason that year, he was super raw as a player when he came in as a 6th-round pick, I believe it was. Or no, it was a 5th-round pick in 2022 out of the University of Washington. He was one of Denver's 3 5th-round picks that year. But Wattenberg's been the guy who stuck out of that draft class, out of the back half of that draft class. He's become a solid starting center. We've talked about before, if the Denver Broncos could Frankenstein Luke Wattenberg and Alex Forsyth into one player, they might have a really good starting center there, but you can't do that, obviously. I do believe the Broncos will be looking to draft a center pretty high in this upcoming draft. I think they want to stabilize that position long term. Wattenberg's been a good bridge player, but I think the teams hit their ceiling with Luke Wattenberg as their starting center. And if the offensive line is going to take their game to the next level, and if this Broncos rushing attack is going to take their game to the next level, I think you need to consider a change of that position. So let me know in the comment section below, guys. Do you think the Denver Broncos need to make a change at center? Do you think that Alex Forsyth is or that Luke Wattenberg's doing a fine enough job there? Or do you think that Alex Forsyth would be better for that role, considering that Denver is really transitioning to becoming more of a rush-heavy team? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well, subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. I would really appreciate it. It's not mandatory whatsoever, but if you guys want some extra perks and incentives in exchange for helping me out and helping the channel grow, the link is in the description below. Alright guys, and until next time, I'm your host Gage Madrid, saying peace out.